In case you missed it, your host Kayla Blakesley is at it again. What did she say this time? Tune in to find out right now. From the Windows, Doors, and More studios, breathe new life into your home. Windows, Doors, and More refinishes hardwood floors to look brand new. Call 260-422-7077. Kayla Blakesley, Fort Wayne's Morning News, 92.3 FM and 1190 AM. Depend on it.
I want to go ahead and run right to our newsmaker line this morning, what will land, because joining us live this hour, we've got Governor Mike Braun. Good morning, Governor.
Morning, Kayla. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Man, oh man, though, it has been a busy 24 hours for you. That's for darn sure, because yesterday you just announced a brand new statewide energy emergency. And basically that allows you to keep Indiana's gas tax holiday in place through September 5th. But something else that also went down yesterday, a lot of us were watching another different affordability issue. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Commissioners were expected to decide whether or not to reconsider that $71 million AES rate increase, but instead they essentially couldn't reach a consensus, so they did nothing. So, Governor, this morning I kind of want to talk about both, but let's definitely start with the news that everyone can appreciate. You are extending this gas tax holiday, like I said, through September 5th. So if I'm a Hoosier filling up my tank this week, what does this extension actually mean for me and my family?
Well, I mean, we've been the only state that's been able to do it for 3.5 months, because that half month was where we had just the use tax, and then next month it was use and excise, which is roughly 62 cents a gallon, and it's given us the lowest gas prices in the country. And Kayla, it's due to the fact that the time I ran for governor, I said we're going to run government more efficiently. We're saving about $1 billion a year in the cost of government. We're getting a lot more done. IEDC on economic development, we're generating about $1 billion more in the revenue. That comprises the nearly $2 billion of extra surplus. So it puts us in the catbird seat. And all along, I've been talking about affordability more than any governor and being able to do something about it. And that, again, is high health care costs, affordability of a home, utility rates, property taxes, and, of course, gas taxes, which you confront for most of us probably weekly or every couple of weeks. So that is now due to a different set of dynamics. Russian-Ukraine war is disrupted. They're the second biggest oil producer. We're number one. And then wildfires in Canada have disrupted the crude we get from there. So therefore, it's a different underpinning for what you can do in terms of declaring an emergency. I'll look at it in the same way I did the first one. It gives you a total of 120 days. I'll take it month by month and see if the underlying conditions warrant to renew it in early September. But that's a blessing for us, but it has everything to do with our economic growth as a state, the team we put together here to run it, and things are going well for Hoosiers, but affordability that affects the average income family is real, and we're going to weigh in on it from every angle, including continuing the property tax discussion. So that's all in front and out there for discussion, and we're getting a lot of input broadly, but in general, Indiana's been the only state able to do these kinds of things.
You mentioned a budget surplus. So for folks who are worried about, having money for our roads and for local governments, would we be dipping into that surplus, or how do we work those numbers?
So the surplus structurally has been fairly healthy for Indiana. We got off the wagon growing government more than we could afford to during COVID and post-COVID. And again, affordability is an issue that was given to us by the Biden administration, 7, 8, and 9% inflation, 22, 23, and 24. So our surplus has given us, since it's more than what we even predicted, the ability to replenish all those funds to local governments. We've already started that, and on these new, reductions in gas tax for Hoosiers, we'll do the same thing. But that's because we're creating the rainy day funds to get through stretches like this. So it won't impact the state or locals when it comes to infrastructure, which is a whole other issue, because the last time we addressed that was in 2017, and steel and concrete have gone up even more than general inflation, and that is something we've got to address as Hoosiers, what we're going to do to keep our roads and bridges in good shape over the next several years. I expect the legislature to roll up its sleeves, get busy on that, and for us, the administration will do the best we can with the current dedicated cash flow that we get. Infrastructure is the only thing that runs on its own revenue, dedicated funding. Everything else depends on sales tax, income taxes, general revenues. So that'll be a significant discussion we've got to have. But no, they'll be made whole. One of the beauties of having a government that lives within its means and actually runs more efficiently.
Well, like you said, it's kind of nice being in the catbird seat, to use your words, for a while. I mean, people appreciate certainly paying less at the pump. Another hot topic of conversation is, Hoosiers are also worried about what's showing up in their electric bills. And yesterday, as I mentioned, the IURC could not reach a consensus on whether or not to reconsider the AES $71 million rate hike. Were you surprised by that?
Not really, because if you notice, Andy Zay is not on the commission anymore. Dug in and was out there happy with granting, what was it, the $91 million increase, and saying that it was down from where it was supposed to be. I can't remember where they ended up exactly, but it wasn't a flat or a decrease like the Office of Utility Counselor was recommending. So the fact that he was not there made it to where we can delay that until we get commissioners to fill in that are going to be ratepayer conscious. So that's the reason nothing happened there. So going forward, we should have a slate of commissioners other than the one that is still on board with kind of rubber stamping the utilities solely. His tenure is up next April. So, but in the meantime, we'll have 4 ratepayer conscious commissioners, and then any hearings going forward will be with them looking at it. And yes, we got to have reliable, healthy utilities, but they've got to be running their businesses more efficiently, not expecting to shove all of their costs onto ratepayers that they had gotten used to over decades. First time ever, we're going to have a commission that balances ratepayer needs with the generators, the IOUs. And that took gumption because no governor was willing to actually say enough is enough, and we've done that. And that's something you look at monthly. The gas you look at weekly. So these are the 2 places to where we can give the best relief out of the gate, and we're going to focus on the other 3 as well that we talked about.
So do you appoint those commissioners?
I do. And they have their terms that come up. We were lucky that we had 2 of them where it came up early. We made replacements. Andy had served on one of the utility committee, and when we hired all of them, and when we vetted so many people wanted to become a commissioner, it was clear, are you going to keep ratepayers in mind and not be a rubber stamp for utilities? They all interviewed accordingly. Andy went wayward, and then when we saw he was going to dig in with not really being one respecting ratepayers' points of view, that is when I had to make the adjustment, because for cause, you can still replace a member, and I did so.
So moving forward, the commission now has until September 8th to act, or that rehearing request is essentially denied. So what would you like to see happen between now and then?
So we're going to have 2 new commissioners in place, and we'll be able to address it, and we'll see what they do. I can't dictate what they're doing. I can just get commissioners on there that are getting the central message. Keep ratepayers in mind. Don't defer or default to the shove you're going to get from utilities, which they've been doing for decades. I think we finally are going to be able to change that dynamic, and those additional commissioners will be seated. The one replacing Zay, and the other one who we've just put on there that I think takes up official duties here in late August. So we'll be in good shape time-wise, and then we feel confident that they've gotten the message that they're going to take a balanced view, which has never happened before in recent history, on the IURC.
Governor, before I let you go, I know that you enjoy some gardening when you can. What's been growing better this summer, your asparagus or the Indiana economy?
Well, I'd say the weeds do in general. And that's my exercise. It's a pleasure picking them. You take out a lot of your frustrations in a job, which I make a joyful experience when I was a senator or a governor. But I wear myself out there. Asparagus is a perennial, so it comes up on its own, generally late April through July. And then tomatoes would be the other thing I grow, and it's like anything. We picked off about 20 hornworms a couple weeks ago, and about 80%, in other words, 8 out of my 10 plants didn't have any leaves on it, not to mention the tomatoes, so at least they're resprouting. Gardening's a tricky business, but I like doing it.
Well, if you can handle politics, I feel like you can handle your garden. Governor, as always, I appreciate your time. You coming on the show. We'll check back in with you hopefully later on this month.
Okay, good being on, Kayla.
That's Governor Mike Braun joining us live here on Whoa Whoa. Hey, it's KB. As a show of appreciation for listening, use my promo code WOWO for deep discounts on all kinds of products at MyPillow.com. That's promo code WOWO.
Podcasts by Federated Media.